In today's video, I'm going to share with you the best free camera apps to use on your phone to make sure your dance videos always look on point. The biggest thing when it comes to using a camera app on your phone is, do you have manual control over your settings? So, can you change your resolution, frame rate, shutter speed, ISO, aperture, and white balance? Now, if you listen to that list and you are totally lost and don't know what they mean, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe because I plan on dropping a whole bunch of videos in the upcoming weeks talking about all of those specific settings and the best ones to use when filming dance. Also, if you feel like your phone is not enough and it's time to upgrade to a camera, stay tuned because soon I'm going to be dropping a video with my best camera and lens recommendations for filming dance. And I'll make sure I link that up above once the video is out. Phone cameras are so good nowadays. If you think about all the updates these phone companies keep rolling out with, it's always a little bit faster and the camera is a little bit better. So before you go and think about using a third-party app, check to see if your native camera app has everything you need. For you iPhone users, I can't walk you through all of these settings, but I did find a video from Think Media that tells you all the best camera settings to use for a video, and I'll link that down below. Also, Think Media has a ton of great tutorials, so I definitely recommend checking them out. For you Android users, I'm gonna at least show you on my Samsung device where I go in my app to get those manual controls. Once I'm in the camera app, I'm gonna swipe all the way to more and then Pro Video right there on the top. Now you can see, ooh, my white balance is really blue, but I can change my white balance. I can change my focus even. I can change my shutter speed. I can change my ISO. And then up here, I can change my aspect ratio. And in the settings, I even have a sound meter on the top left. I have a histogram on the top right. Here I can change my frame rate. So I basically have all the settings I need, honestly, in here. I don't even really need a third-party app. So before you go ahead and download a third-party app that's gonna take up more space on your phone, try your native app and see if it has all the things that you need. If you do want to try some third-party apps, here are the ones that I recommend, and they're both free. For iOS, try Final Cut Camera. This was released by Apple and it's free, and holy crap, when I was researching this one, it made me super jealous and I almost thought about switching to an iPhone. That's how cool it is. So let me read off some specs, but also Brandon Butch has a really good introductory video showing you all the different features. So definitely go check out his video and I'll link that in the description below. But for Final Cut Camera, you have to have iOS 17.4 or above, but it gives you all the manual controls over your camera settings, so you can change your resolution, frame rate, your video codec, things like that. You have grid overlays, you have image stabilization, you have video mirroring, which is cool. You have an overexposure indicator, you have focus peaking to make sure your videos are always in focus. The interface seems to be really similar to the native camera app, so it should be pretty intuitive to use and easy to navigate. If you have an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max or anything newer than that, you can record directly to an external storage device. So say you are running low on space, you could plug an external hard drive directly into your iPhone and record everything to that, which is super cool. And the really cool feature is if you have an iPad as well, you can do a multi-cam shoot with up to 4 iPhones. So the iPad acts as a controller. You connect to all the phones with Wi-Fi, and then you can manually control each phone separately. You hit record, it records all 4 of them onto your tablet, I think is how it works. And then in the tablet, you can edit and choose at which point you want to switch to a different camera angle. So practically, think like a dance performance or a maybe a Q&A talkback where you want to focus on like the speaker and then the artist and the other group of artists, right? Or maybe you have a backup house iPhone, you have a like close to stage right and stage left iPhone, or even like backstage, I don't know, whatever you want to do, right? You can lock in the exposure so that way you set the you tell your lighting designer to go to the brightest look. You make sure you set it to that, so that way you know you don't get overexposed. For all of them, you hit record and you're good for the run. Then afterwards, you can go back and pick when you want to jump to the back of house camera, or when you want to cut to the stage right camera or stage left camera. It's so cool. Like, I wish we had this on Android. Anyways, so Final Cut camera, definitely give it a shot if you have an iPhone. And let me know in the comments what you think if you do check it out. For Androids, we don't have something quite as cool as that, but I highly recommend Open Camera. It gives you full control over all your camera settings. It's open source, so it should work on every single Android device, although as a heads up, because it's open source, it might be a little bit buggy sometimes. And it's a really simple interface. Again, I don't think you're looking for anything super crazy at this point if you're using your phone, but it does everything you need. So let me give you a real quick demo or preview of Open Camera. Here we have Open Camera, and you'll see here I am in the video option, because if I tap on this camera icon, then the video icon is there. So we'll go back to video. Here I can zoom in and out. On the top, if I go to settings, you'll see there's face detection instead of focus, so it'll look for your face or faces to focus on, which is nice. We go to video settings. You can change your resolution on the top. There's image stabilization. You can change your video format, your codec, which is nice. Picture profile, so you can shoot in log. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. But basically, log is a flatter picture, so you have more control over your color corrections or color grading in your editing process. You can, if you're worried about storage space or things like that, you can set the maximum duration of the video, all that stuff. Oh, then down here, sorry, is your frame rate, which is really important in my opinion to set your frame rate, and your bit rate, which I think default is fine if you're using this. Okay, but if we go here on the top, you see here I can switch through my different aspect ratios and frame rates. I'm gonna go back to 1080. Speed, if you want to speed up your video. Oh, but here so I can turn the grid off. I can do 3x3 or other ones to help me frame my composition the way I want. You can change your white balance here. I don't quite understand what scene mode is, to be honest, so I never use it. And if you want, you have some color effects, so I can go monochrome, I can go negative, well that's kind of creepy, or I can go sepia, or none. Because you can always do these in post, those effects. So there you go. Then your exposure compensation, your ISO is here. I can change it, make things brighter or darker there. That's my shutter speed there. And then you can always hit this top left one and lock your exposure to make sure it doesn't change. So if in case it's on an auto setting, when the lights change, the exposure is not going to change with it. So that's a quick walkthrough of Open Camera. I've used it a lot in the past when I had a cheaper phone and I didn't quite have all the capabilities my current phone has. But since I have that pro camera mode on my Samsung, when I do need my camera to act in a more professional manner, I usually default to that. Now, the one app that I am very strongly against anyone trying, and I know you're gonna see it in your app store for both Android and iOS, is Filmic Pro. Filmic Pro is great as far as the features it has. You have way more control over your camera than Open Camera or Final Cut Camera. You have a lot more tools and other things like that. It is probably as close as you will get to a DSLR level, professional camera level control for an app, but it's a subscription model, which I hate. It used to be a one-time fee. It was expensive. It was like, I think $20, but I paid for it and I thought it was worth it because it really gave me a lot of control. It had like zebra stripes and focus peaking and all these fancier tools to make sure your exposure and focus is locked in. but then they go to a subscription model, and I just don't think anyone would use this tool enough to justify that cost. So again, because it is a subscription model, technically it's cheaper if you are doing a short-term project and you only need it for, I don't know, 2 months, right? You could do the subscription for just that amount of time. But I don't know, I think you could do everything you need with your native app or Final Cut camera or open camera, to be totally honest. So, and I'm honestly just mad at Filmic Pro because they had a great thing and now it's just more expensive and subscription model. I'm like, why? But because everyone's, I guess, going to a subscription model nowadays. But rant is over. Those are the apps that I would recommend you check out. Like always, thank you so much for your support. Make sure you subscribe. No, that's not the right order. Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and make sure you stay tuned because I am planning on releasing a lot more videos now on the best cameras and camera settings for dance videos, and I'm super excited to share all that with you. And until then, see you next time.